Nelly, settle down, settle down.
Last year I built this dirt bike for my wife, and I've converted it into a fully street legal dirt bike. This is a 2002 XR100R. I picked it up for $400, completely went through it. Up here is the gauge cluster. The issue I have is I actually put a charging system on this bike. The voltage regulator rectifier that I bought is not compatible with a lithium ion battery. So rather than replace the voltage regulator rectifier, I actually built a battery box, and I'm gonna install that and mount it on the bike. This is the battery box that I built, and this is a sealed battery made to be recharged for a motorcycle, and that's gonna fit in like that. We're probably gonna have to weld on some tabs onto the side of this, and we're going to have to do some modification to the back of the bike to fit this battery in there because there's not a whole lot of room. So if you want to see how I built this battery box, go on and head over to my welding and fabrication channel. I'll have a link up above. You guys can check that out, how I did this and a lot of other similar projects. But for now, let's get disassembling this bike so we can get this battery hooked up to this bike and get it working again. So what I think I'm going to end up doing, guys, is I'm going to mount, I think, the battery like right here, that battery box, but what I'm gonna have to do is cut these little ears off on each side so that I can get this battery box to fit up in there. So it'll fit between the frame rails, but it just won't fit between this little plastic piece, which is part of the seat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim those little ears off each side and hopefully leave this piece on right here, and then we'll see what we got to do to get that battery box to mount in there. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to use a diamond cutoff wheel, just trim it along this line here and then trim it along here. Yeah, now it's just got this little flap, and that should fit in there pretty good. Let's give it a try. So far, I'm really happy how this is coming out, guys. There's going to be plenty of clearance for everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this little tab onto the side of the battery box and then drill a hole through this little bracket right here. So that'll anchor this side. Yep, this should work out pretty slick, guys. And so that things don't loosen up and back off over time, I'm using locking nuts that has nylon in them so that they always stay tight. And here's another look, guys, at how I'm going to bolt on this side. So one of those little button head bolts is going to go right through the bracket. You can see how that goes right through the frame, and then we'll put a nut on the outside. Just like that. That should work pretty good. There. That is super solid in there, guys. That's not going anywhere. This is coming out pretty nice now, guys. So now we got it all bolted in. You can see over here I got the little nut right there. Now we can just slip our battery in. Just like that. Just gonna bring in real quick before I put the seat back on. So I've got it all wired up now and just connected, you know, red to positive, black to negative, and then just connected them where it used to go to that battery right here. And here it is, guys, done, all fully assembled. And you can see it's way up under there, out of the way. The suspension completely will compress and bottom out before this hits. So this can never hit that tire, which is a good thing. So it's nice and up out of the way, not a problem. You can see the white in behind that. So, you know, it's still protected up under there. There's not going to be any water or dirt that gets up in there. Maybe I didn't fully explain why I ended up building that, but just for the backstory on this, this is the battery that was in it, in this fit right on top of that ear box that's right about in here, just tucked up in there nice. But because it's lithium ion, it doesn't work, like I said, with that regulator rectifier, which is mounted right here. So rather than rewire this bike, I just decided I'd put a battery on it, just a general battery. Just makes it a lot easier. And that battery was only like $13. I'm not really sure what the composition of that battery is, but it's not lithium ion. And then I shouldn't have the problems that this little small battery, I've actually gone through two of these, because what happens is that the charging system actually overloads this battery and it charges them too much and then it burns them out. So I actually bought one. These aren't cheap, they're like 35 bucks for this little battery pack. So I bought one and that lasted about 2 weeks. Then I bought another one. That one lasted about 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm about $70 deep in buying a couple batteries. So that's why I decided to build that battery box, just get a regular sealed battery that's made for a motorcycle. And yeah, we're all set now. And if you want to see how I made this bike fully street legal, I'll have a link down below and up above. You can check it out. Turning on this turns on the gauge cluster and it powers up all the running lights. So you can see how that's powered up. This right here is the headlights. And this is a LED light bar, super bright, super bright. You see the tail lights and back. This was a fun build, converting the horn just like any other bike. Blinkers. The blinkers are integrated into the handguards. And you can see the blinkers back here. Sorry for the wind. And I'll show you about this. So if I press this button, that's a stopwatch. It's got all kinds of functions. Currently the battery has 12.6 or 12.5 volts in it, and you can see it's got 14.9 volts maximum. It's showing an average speed of 23 and a maximum speed of 35. So that was the trip that we took earlier. Then it shows the time. It's currently 12:42. It's got 413 miles on it. It's just barely idling. There we go. It's catching up. If I give it throttle right now, it won't. It's cold right now. So there we go. You can see it's got 13 volts. So the charging system is actually working on this right now. And you saw the maximum voltage from the other day. Let me give it a little throttle. Hopefully it won't die. Yeah, that's that. So you can see the highest voltage that it achieved was 14.9. And that's that. Hey, this is a fun build. If you guys are into motorcycles, guys, check it out. I think you'll probably like it. A lot of work. Picked it up for 400 bucks. It was pretty rough, but it's a lot of fun on the street. And it'll do like 50 miles an hour. All right, let's see how this thing works. I will put it on voltage. There we go. Actual voltage, so we can just continue to make sure that the bike's charging but not overcharging. I must look wicked cute on this. Like 6'1" on a little 100 dirt bike. Well, I better zip up my jacket. It's going to act like a parachute and slow me down. I need every... There we go. Need every bit of advantage I can get. Opening up my jacket, it's like holding a sheet of plywood into the wind. This bike though, guys, goes down the road so smooth. The front tire on this bike only has one wheel weight on it because I balanced the wheels. There's only one wheel weight. And let me get up here and I'll show you how smooth it is. Like, look at the handlebars, guys, how smooth they are. Just no issues with the tires bouncing or any other thing like that. Yeah, one little 1/4 ounce wheel weight on the wheel. Even my street bikes have more weight on them than that. Oh, doesn't have the best of brakes, guys, though, because it's got drum brakes all around. Yeah, this is a pretty fun bike. I'm looking for something a little bit bigger for her though, like a 300, like a kind of like an MT03 or something like that, or like an R3 or a CB 300. But I figured this would just be a good bike for her to get used to and kind of get you know, figure out balance and stuff like that, because she just recently got her motorcycle license. So those kids are liking it. They're hollering over. Yeah, I think this bike gets well over 100 miles to the gallon, which is pretty cool. I'm definitely too big for this bike though. I probably look silly. She's got a little bit of a smoke going on to it, guys, when you let off the throttle. This motorcycle looks like it's never been opened up before, the motor, so I think probably needs some valve seals. So I'm going to take care of that this winter. I'm going to put a new piston in it and new rings. I ordered everything OEM Honda, and I'm going to put in new valve seals, and that should take care of everything. They freshen this whole top end up. I don't believe the top end's ever been freshened up on this bike, but the one good thing about it smoking, it keeps the mosquitoes down. So yeah, guys, as I was saying, I'm looking for like a 300cc bike for my wife. Even like the Duke 390 would be awesome. But not too long ago, my wife rode my Suzuki 600, and she was going through a parking lot, and she saw a car backing up out of a parking space as she was pulling in, super slow, like maybe 2 miles an hour. But she panicked a little bit, and she grabbed the front brake real hard and tucked the front end under and laid it down. Well, then I got thinking about it after, and it's like, she said my brakes were real sensitive. Well, it's not necessarily that my brakes were sensitive, it's that this is the bike that she knows, and this bike has cable brakes, cable drum brakes, so it requires additional force. You know, if you used as much force on my bike as you have to on this to stop it, that's what happens. It necessarily wasn't really her fault. She just wasn't used to my bike and how much pressure it took to stop the bike. So, but anyways, it didn't do a whole lot of damage to the bike. Scratched up the fairings a little bit. Not a big deal. Nothing that can't be fixed. I've actually got it for sale right now on Marketplace, so hopefully it'll sell, or trade. If I could trade for a newer fuel injected bike for her, that'd be awesome too. There you go, Seth. Well, that's that. Just gonna go run into the pharmacy and pick up some stuff for a family member, and we'll be right back out. We'll rip her up some more.
Whoa, Nelly, settle down, settle down. Yes. Get some. That's been it, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just dump the clutch when you want to shut it off. I'll see you on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.